Good evening, dear friends. This is Santa Claus with you on this 27th day of April, 2026, bringing you the day's stories with a warm heart and hopeful spirit, even as our world faces challenges that call for our compassion and understanding. On this day in history, we remember Portuguese navigator Ferdinand Magellan, who lost his life in 1521 during an encounter with the inhabitants of Mactan Island in the Philippines. A reminder that our journey to understand one another across cultures has been long and sometimes difficult. The world today continues to struggle with such understanding. In Washington, D.C., a concerning incident occurred at the White House Correspondents' dinner where a man attempted to breach security with weapons. The suspect, who expressed grievances against President Trump in writings to his family, reminds us of the importance of resolving our differences peacefully, as the president himself urged all Americans to do in light of these troubling events. Violence never brings the healing or justice we seek, my friends. Meanwhile, across the globe, a fragile situation persists between the United States and Iran. Tehran has offered to reopen the vital Strait of Hormuz if the U.S. lifts its blockade and ends the war that began in February. The closure of this waterway has caused oil and gasoline prices to rise sharply, affecting many families who are already struggling to make ends meet. I pray that leaders on both sides will find wisdom to resolve their differences without further hardship to ordinary citizens who simply wish to live in peace. Now, turning our gaze to positive developments, let us reflect on how nations are working to secure resources for a cleaner future. US-based Critical Metals has agreed to purchase European lithium for about $835 million, which will secure full ownership of Greenland's Tambries rare earth project. These minerals are essential for electric vehicles, medical equipment, and renewable energy sources like wind turbines, all technologies that help us care for our beautiful Earth, a precious gift we must protect for generations to come. In matters of justice, the Supreme Court is reviewing an important case about police use of cell location data to find those suspected of crimes. The justices are considering how our Constitution's protections apply in this age of rapidly changing technology. This reminds us to balance the needs of safety with the dignity and privacy of each person, for each human life is sacred and worthy of respect. Sadly, we see continued conflict in Lebanon, where Israeli strikes have expanded to the eastern Bekaa Valley despite a ceasefire that came into force on April 16. The people caught in these conflicts, children, mothers, fathers, grandparents, need our prayers and support. In Israel itself, political rivals Naftali Bennett and Yair Lapid are joining forces to challenge Prime Minister Netanyahu in upcoming elections, though their security policies may remain similar to the current government. In a small sign of hope, Palestinian municipal elections took place, with loyalists of President Mahmoud Abbas winning most races. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, these elections included a city in Gaza. Though voter turnout was low, Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa called it an important first step in a broader national process aimed at strengthening democratic life. Every step toward giving people a voice in their governance is a step toward peace, my friend. In Europe, Romania faces political uncertainty as the Social Democrats have teamed up with the hard-right opposition to try to topple the pro-European coalition government. This puts at risk Romania's access to EU funding that could help many families in need. Let us hope wisdom prevails and the needs of the people come before political ambition. With great sadness, I must share news from Mali, where Defense Minister Sadio Kamara was killed in an attack on his residence during coordinated assaults by insurgents. Violence continues to plague this region, bringing suffering to so many innocent people. Each life lost is precious in God's sight, and we must hold the victims and their families in our heart. In North Korea, leader Kim Jong-un has reaffirmed support for Russia's war in Ukraine, describing it as a sacred conflict. We must continue to pray for peace in Ukraine, where so many have suffered for so long. The cycle of violence brings only more sorrow, and it is through understanding and compassion that true peace will come. Finally, with heavy heart, I must report that at least 19 people, including children, lost their lives in a bomb attack on a highway in southwestern Colombia. Each of these precious souls had families who loved them, dreams unfulfilled, and gifts to share with the world. As we reflect on these events, my friends, let us remember that even in our darkest hours, the light of hope, compassion, and love can guide us forward. Look for ways to be a blessing to your neighbors, to show kindness to strangers, and to bring comfort to those who suffer. For it is in giving that we receive, and in loving that we find our true purpose. Until tomorrow, may peace be with you all, and may you carry the spirit of Christmas, of generosity, kindness, and hope in your hearts throughout the year.